Also, the past, some of the past assignments, you can find the lesson actually in the assignment. So there's a video that goes along with the assignment. So just take a look at that as well. So if you're missing like the A3.1 links, that has a video. I think the list or recipe that has a video in it. So that should help you out. Okay, so I'm going to make this bigger.
I'm sorry, Miss Bowman, but they were being loud all of a sudden. I'm sorry, they couldn't hear you because we have such a backpack issue in here sometimes. And so I was handing out candy to the kids who actually remembered to put their backpacks over by the desk and did not have their backpack at their seat. And then I have to go and I have to take their backpacks from them at their seat and go put it by my desk, and it's every day.
Why do we have such a backpack problem?
I think it's because it's
oh, so Mrs. Spoolhoff is being really generous and very nice by letting you have a backpack in the room.
Don't even bring their backpack in the first place.
When she could, hey, folks, when she could clearly say, no backpacks, you have 4 minutes to get between classes, throw it in your locker. She could easily say that. In fact, if it's going to always become a problem, or if I see it's a problem when I return after spring break, I will not have backpacks in the room. All right, so folks, hopefully now you can hear me, since apparently we were having a discussion. We are going to start with having a blank HTML file. Please make sure.
Separating the pack. Just separating the pack, that's all. I know. But if I separate the pack,
hey guys, it's not a discussion. She didn't ask what your opinion was about it. Just do it. Your mouth do not need to move.
You have the doc type at the top already?
All right, so we have doc type. HTML. Head. Meta. Char set. Equals. Quotation marks. UTF-8. Your title. You can just put this is practice. Anchors. Backslash head. Body. Give yourself some white space, backslash body, and backslash HTML. If you're done with the standard structure, you can go ahead and save this. File save. I am going to call this practice 3. I don't think I have one of those. .html. Make sure it's in your web design folder, please. And then what's nice is we can also then put our H1. All web pages should have some type of heading. H1, we can call this practice. Anchors, same as our title, nothing too extravagant. Save. If you know the shortcut, it's Command S to save. It's at least on the Macs. Oops. And I'm going to move this over. I know. I'm going to make my browser a little bit smaller. I am then going to open up my file. What did I call it? I called it Practice 3. So hopefully everyone can at least get to this point.
He doesn't save it correctly though, so maybe if you want to help him during that time, that'd be great. I keep trying to tell him. Yeah, it's the same thing for him. It's the exercise. Yeah, because I won't let.
So if you're on the MacBooks, guys, if you ever find like you can't save it, the file, or if it does something weird with your file, you can always duplicate. So go up to File, Duplicate. And then it'll make a duplication, it'll make a copy, and then you can save it as a .html file that way. Sometimes TextEdit, they used to have a save as, so you didn't have to duplicate the file, but of course they changed it.
Just save it right now.
So that's why I like to save it right away and make sure that everything's working before we really start doing a bunch of coding. Which is always good practice to get the initial stuff working, make sure it shows up, nothing weird is showing up, no crazy characters. Save it, and then you'll have it saved. So yesterday we talked about anchors, or the A tag, or you can call them links. They're called anchors in HTML, or the A tag in HTML, but we know them as links. So I'm just going to quick do a recap. I'm going to do one right up top here, and I'm going to actually make a link to our school website. So if you don't know the school website's address, you will now know it. So to make a link, we're going to use the A tag, or the anchor tag. It's going to have an opening A. Then we need to have the location of the anchor. Where are we pointing to? And this is where we use the attribute href. And href actually stands for hyperlink reference, but they've abbreviated it to href. Equals quotation mark. And then we need the whole web address. We actually need the HTTP in there. ://www. Hopefully I spell Saugatuck right. SaugatuckPS.com. Closing quotation mark. Closing little caret. And it, oops, sorry. And if you'd like to see it kind of all one line, that's fine. I know I have my font huge, so it's hard to see. So that is the anchor telling where we're getting our website, but now we need something to show up on our browser. So after that closing little caret, we need to have text, and you might put school website. And then we need a closing \A. Or closing /A. So you have here, This tells that our anchor is pointing to www.saugatuckps.com. After that, we have what's actually showing up on our browser. And then we need to close it with a backslash or with a backslash A. And that is your basic link to a website. So save, refresh, please. And make this a little bit smaller so you can see. So I refresh, there's my link. Again, you need the HTTP, the whole address. If you just put www.saugatuckps.com, it wouldn't work. Okay. Questions about a simple link? I think in the last assignment, you guys also had working on putting it in an unordered list, so that way it gave it kind of a menu feel. But that's something that we don't necessarily need to redo, or we can redo in our next assignment. So I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time, but I just wanted to refresh our memory on links. So go ahead and do another one. I don't care what link you or what website you choose, but go ahead and pick one, please. I'm going to do href equals www. I'm just going to pick an actual website I know exists. ABC or CBS, so we'll just do cbs.com. And I'm going to say CBS website. Do one of your own. You guys can think. I will say it is important to check that the website actually exists, or that it's a website that is relevant. Be aware sometimes if you're like looking up puppies and you want to have a puppy site, just assuming that there is a website called www.puppies.com might not always be true. So be aware, like when you have assignments and it's asking you to list some type of website, you might want to check it to make sure it's it's school appropriate and that it actually is a functioning, relevant, high quality website. And you're just not picking something out because you're too lazy to check to see if it's a website. So if I save, Command S, move this over a little bit and refresh, my website should show up. Again, this is an inline element, meaning it will keep going in line like a sentence. Bless you. Even though in my HTML, it looks like it should be two separate lines, it's not. If you want them separate, you have to use a break line. So it's important to know that A tags or anchors or links are not block elements. They are inline elements, meaning there's not a break line, and you have to code that yourself. So BR/ will give you a break line. So save and refresh, and it'll drop it down to the next line.
Sunny, go back to your desk and work on them. She put in space. Right. You did not do the break. Yeah.
The nice thing about HTML, you'll know if it's working. based on what you see.
Where are you going? Where are you going?
All right, so something new that we're going to learn today. It's kind of called a contact link. So I'm going to put my contact link underneath my other ones. And in fact, I'm going to have some break lines. So I'm going to give myself some spaces here on my web page.
Smart kids, boss.
All right. Just turn around. Look at your screen. Look at your screen there.
Three of
What's
us.
your screen got on it? I'm ignoring you. Please turn around and look at your screen.
Whatever, cheers, yes.
And we're going to do something called a contact link. A lot of times it's just to like an email, or you could say it's to an email or to an organization. You could actually send one to me. I don't know if it'll actually work on your screen because your browser might not be hooked up to email in terms of reading an email link, but we will at least create one. So we're going to use the anchor tag, A space href. That helps to spell. Equals quotation mark. So we're linking, or we're creating a hyperlink to a mail address. So you can go ahead and use mine. We are going to use mail to, all one word, colon, and you're going to mail it to me, NBAUMANN at saugatuck.com. So that is my email address. We're going to make sure we close it out with a closing quotation mark, closing caret, and then we want something to show up on our website. So you might say, contact Ms. Bauman. And then a closing A tag. All right, so I'm gonna move this over, save, and refresh my screen. If you click on it, if you have a Mac, it will probably send you some type of mail editor. If you don't, I'm not sure exactly what it will send you to in Chrome. It might not send you anywhere, so. Oops, let me close that out. But that's just a good example of where you can put those kind of contact information. So oftentimes when you see a website that says, click here to contact the author or the person in charge, you can go ahead and do that and do a mail to Anchor or link. And since we have this up, we might as well talk about opening up browsers or opening up tabs or links into a new tab or browser, since we have this open and it's nice and easy for us to read. So right now we have in our link, if you look at sagatechps.com, we have, it's called an anchor tag or an A tag. One of the attributes is called href, which tells us we're pointing to sagatechps.com. And we're going to put one more attribute inside the caret. So if you guys go up to your first link for Sagatech, you're going to go after the quotation marks and you're going to input the word target. Target equals quotation mark. You're going to use an underscore, the word blank, all one word, and then a closing quotation mark. So just to recap, we have an A tag or an anchor. It's telling href is telling us where we're pointing to or what website we're going to. And then the target is saying it's going to be a blank tab. So basically it's going to open up in a new tab, hopefully. Make sure you have the opening and closing quotation marks. You have the equal sign. You have the underscore before the word blank. It's all one word. If you save and then refresh and then click on the first link that says, or mine says school website, it shall now open in a new tab. Okay. So this is really nice to have in your skill set or in your toolbox, if you will, for making links, because a lot of times when you have a link or a website and you want your user or your audience to go to a website, you don't necessarily want to lose your own website. You want to just have another tab pop open. So that way they can always refer back to your original web page. So it's not going to show up any differently on your web page, but once the person or once you click on it, it will do a different action. It'll create a new tab and open up in that new tab the website you told it to go to. So you guys can go ahead and do that for your second link as well. So I'm going to do that for CBS. I'm going to use the word target equals quotation mark underscore blank. Save. And I'm going to smooth this over slightly. Refresh. If I click on CBS, it will now open up in a second tab. So here's my original. Here's the tab that it just opened. And here's the other tab that I opened when I clicked on sagatechps.com or school website. So I'll make sure I put these in the notes as well. So if you need a reference back, it's something that you're probably always going to use, or you can choose to use, or you can reference back or ask me if you're like, hey, Ms. Bauman, how do I make it open up in a new browser? You can go ahead and do that. Is everyone able to get theirs to open up in a new browser or a new tab?
Yes.
Good.
I don't remember how to do it on the Chromebook. I'm trying to help Derek. How do you open it in a In the browser?
In the browser. Oh, yep. You can. If you just open up your files pop-up window and put it right next to Chrome or right next to your browser, you can just click and drag it right over. Otherwise, I think you can right key or control to get a little drop-down menu and say open with, and it should give you browser options.
I got it for
Okay. I'm more of a click and drag, so even though it seems like I have a lot of windows open or pop-ups open, I like to have that, and then I just click and drag it over. Same with the MacBooks or the Macs. So folks, if you're forgetting these little tips and things, it does help to write them down. Just putting it out there.
Stop. You can't even do it. Stop.
Oh yeah, right was.
Okay, so make sure you save this. And then we're going to open up a file that I've given you. So hopefully we won't have any problems doing that. So I'm just going to move this over. But if you folks wouldn't mind going to Schoology, if you're done with getting your links to open up in a new tab and getting it all to work, go ahead and go to Schoology. And we are going to go to let's see. We can actually go to List Anchor Challenge. So it's under upcoming. And then I gave you a file. So if you guys wouldn't mind downloading that file. You don't have to worry about the assignment yet. I just want you to open up the file that's in the assignment. So if you click on it, I believe it'll download it to your downloads file or folder, and then you can open it up. So you're going to have to do multiple things. You're going to have to open it up in your text edit, and you're going to have to view it in your browser. So I've downloaded it. I can see it's in my downloads right here. I am going to just open up a blank tab. I'm going to go to my files folder. And I'm going to go to my downloads. And I'm going to find this download that I just downloaded. It's called Bauman Challenge. I'm going to drag it to my browser so I can see what it looks like. And then if you're on a Mac, you can also, if you've got the little text edit icon in your bar, you can actually just drag it over to your icon to open it up, and it should open it up. It should open it up in a text edit. If it does not, or if you can't find it, and this would be true, folks, for my Chromebook users, go to your, you can go to your text app, my Chromebook users, and go to open, and then find it in your files that way. So for example, if I'm in text edit, so my Mac users as well, go to file, open. I should be also able to find it as well. So it's a very long website.
What do you mean?
So hopefully, I'm going to close these things out. Hopefully you are able to have the HTML file open in your text edit.
Miss Bauman,
Yep.
for the MacBook people,
Mhm.
we can only, when we go to our downloads, we can only open it onto Chrome and it won't open it. Never mind.
Yep. You might have to right click and go open with and find text edit. It just, if you're on a Mac, guys, and you just double click on it, it's going to default and open it up in Chrome. That's why it has the Chrome icon. So you might have to actually open up text edit. So you see text edit at the top left corner and go file, open, and open it that way. It's just, it's not sure what application you want it to open in. That's all. You kind of have to outsmart your computer today. All right, was everyone able to get this open? Okay. Help your neighbor if they need it.
What do you mean? What? Just trying to
So this website has everything that we have been working on from beginning to now. It has our links or our anchors. It has an unordered list. It's got paragraphs. It's got H1s. It's got H2s. It's using different kind of style tags that we've looked at for our simple text, like quotation marks and italicized text. It also has like a black quote, so I kind of indented work in. It's got quite a few things.
Hello, game. Or what? Or just and they're just literally scrolling up hello game.
So for this example, guys, we're going to do two things. We're going to try to do the mail to anchor, so that way I can show you how it's used again in more context. So like if we are doing like please contact us, we could actually have a link.
Stop talking.
We could actually have a link. And then we're also going to talk about links within or anchor within, so we can move up and down on our website. So first things first, I need you guys to find the sentence in your HTML file that says, please contact us if you would like more information. It's right at the top. Mine is right, it's right there for me. Might be a little bit different for you depending on how big your browser is or your window is. And we're actually going to make that word that says contact us. We're going to make that our link. So you guys can make some white space if you want, like hit return just to give yourself some white space. I like to do that, kind of see where I'm at. So after the word please, we're going to create a link. We're going to use the A tag, so A with a caret, space, href, equals, quotation marks, mail to, all one word,
Accessible. Accessible. Look how about Jared.
colon. And then you guys can put any email in there. I'm just going to put my own. And Bauman at sagatuckps.com. That's the email address I'm linking it to. Quotation mark, closing little caret. And then I'm going to assume, guys, that the word contact us is what's going to be the link. So after the word us, I'm going to put a closing A tag. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see the whole thing. I'm actually going to tighten it up so you guys can see that. So I just made this link right here. Let me make it bigger so you guys can see. I just made this link right here. So I made a link that's going to mail, or it's going to create an email, if you will, that's going to be sent to nbauman@sagatuckps.com. And the link is actually going to say contact us. So it's going to underline or make the words contact us into a link for mailing. If I save that and refresh my browser, contact us should become underlined. And because it's not hooked to a mail system, it might not be hooked to a mail system, it may not work for us right here. But if we made this a real live website and put it on the internet, most people that have personal computers, it would work. So I'm just going to move this over slightly so you guys can see what it looks like on the browser.
I did it. It's going good.
All right, my browser is not working, or it's not working. Let me double check. Make sure I spelled everything. Looks like I spelled everything right. Is yours underlined or not, folks?
No.
Mine isn't either. What's up with that? Let me double check. Make sure I have everything. Contact us.
Thanks.
Mail to.
Derek, get out of my freaking spot.
Okay. Technically, it should work, so I'm not sure why it's not working. Let's see. Maybe I spelled something wrong. Let me just check to make sure my browser is working, guys. So just hold tight. Hey, guys, you don't need to talk during this.
Thank you.
All right. Well, technically, this should work, so I'm just going to keep it as such. I don't know if I spelled something wrong. I don't think I did. But I don't know why it's not underlining. Great. My example's not working, folks. Oh, well. My other example should work.
Mine works.
Yours works good. Because my, see? Sometimes the grasshopper has
So for Sonny's computer, whenever we
open.
open the HTML file and to send it to the text editor, it does not show code. It shows
Yep. So what
what
he needs to go up to Preferences under Text Edit. Let's go to Preferences. And then when it says new document, make plain text, and open and save is going to be the same thing. And then do not click down here. It automatically saves. So new document, make plain text. And then open and save, make sure it just says display HTML file as HTML. And then if you close and reopen it up, it should work.
Okay.
Forever, hopefully, if he sits in the same spot.
Just forgot to do that.
Yeah. It's the problem with the Macs.
Yeah.
So folks, hopefully yours worked. Mine did not.
So.
I don't think mine's refreshing. I'm going to open it up in a different browser. So hang tight. There we go. I was just looking at a different, I was saving my file, but not saving it to the right spot. So, all right. Okay. So your contact us should be a link. Please make sure that it's underlined and that you have the correct code.
You.
All right, once folks, you have your Ahref contact link. I want you guys to go up to the very top where it says Film Folk. It's our first header, H1. Okay. In our H1, inside the two little opening and closing caret things, the less than greater than sign, you're going to use something new called an ID. And this is going to let us be really specific about what header or what location in our page we're talking about. So it's creating a special ID for this H1. And I am going to call it top. So equals, quotation mark, the word top, closing quotation mark. So this is what I did. I'm making a special ID for this H1, for this header.
So you took the H1 ID top.
Okay. So you could call it A, you could call it, clearly you're not going to call it H1 because H1's already being used, or call it ID, but you want it to be descriptive. This is the top of my page, so that's why I called it ID equals top. Okay? It's the top of my page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a link at the bottom that actually will then move my web page back to the top. So it's a link that anchors parts of my web page within itself. So if you guys have ever gone to a website where you might have you get down to the very bottom after you've scrolled down on a web page and it says, do you want to go back to the top? That's what it's doing. It's creating a button or it's creating a link So it lets you go all the way back to the top so you don't have to scroll back up. So at the top of my page, I have an H1 ID top. So I need to create a link for that at the bottom of my page. So go all the way down. And it's going to be before the backslash body and the backslash HTML. So it's got to be before those because it's inside our content of our browser here. And I'm going to create a link. I'm going to create a link that goes back to that top ID. So to do that, to create a link, we use the A tag. So A. We need the attribute href. So hyperlink reference, where are we pointing to, equals quotation mark. And then we need to call upon that ID. To do that, we're going to use the hashtag and then the name of that ID, which was top. Closing quotation mark, closing little caret thing, and then we need to actually show something on the page. So you might put go to top of page. And then you need a backslash A. So this link references back to the ID top. So we need the hashtag top. And it's going to show up on our page as the words go to top of page. And it looks like I put too many spaces in there. So if you save this and then refresh your browser, if you scroll all the way down to that page, you should now have a link that says go to top of page. If you click on that, it should go to the top of the page. So again, at the very top, we created a special ID, so that's where it's going back up to, and it's called top. So we needed ID equals quotation marks, the word top. And that's what our browser is looking for when we call upon it. It's looking for that special ID. And then we're creating a link at the bottom that says, hey, web page, you are going to look for that special ID, so the hashtag, and the ID's name is top. And then go to top of page is just what you want to show up on your website. So what I'd like you to do is, if you're able to get that to work, why don't you go ahead and go to, let's say, January. So you could go to that H3. You could give that a special name. So you could say ID equals, give it a special name. You could even use the word January if you want, or you could use JAN, quotation mark. So that's giving this area special name. And then at the bottom, you could create another link that says, hey, href equals quotation mark, hashtag Jan, and say go to January. Save. run, refresh, go all the way down, and I could click on that, and it should, January should be at the top of that page where it goes.
Miss Bauman,
Yeah,
you go back up to the January. I didn't.
absolutely. Yep.
Oh,
Yep. So all I did was create a special ID name. ID equals, and then create a name. I used the word Jan. You could use the letter J. It's better to stick with letters instead of numbers. And it helps to be a little bit descriptive.
I didn't charge it. Can't remember. Always.
So I want you guys to do that with one more. So pick one of the months, preferably not the last one because it's not gonna work unless you put your link way at the top. So like you could even say, hey, what's the last month I have on here? I have May. So I might actually go down to May. If I can find it. Oh, it's way down here. I might give May a special, oops, sorry. Give May a special ID and equals, and I might call it May. And then maybe at the top I have a link that goes to the month of May. So somewhere above January or maybe between my two horizontal lines, I have a link that says A, href equals quotation marks. I'm calling on that special ID called May. Close and say go to month of May. Save. Refresh. So at the top, I should have a link that says go to the month of May. Click on it, and May should pop up. Now it won't be all the way at the top because that's the end of my website. If I had more underneath May, if I had a lot more information, May would actually move up to the top. So the hashtag goes with the ID.
A long time ago.
In the meantime, you were at the
Yes, I
so that there's no complaints.
I
She did it.
So you can practice this. Clearly you need a lot of information to have it move up and down within itself. But that's okay because most websites do have a lot of information. If it doesn't, it's usually not very helpful. There's nothing worse than going to a website that just has a picture and then a few sentences. It's not very descriptive. Okay, so it's almost time to go, but I just want to give you guys a heads up in case somebody's going to be gone. I'm not sure. Is anyone leaving early for spring break?
am.
Who's I am?
December.
Okay. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Nick is going to Florida or the Bahamas? Okay. Nick, if you, because there's going to be an assignment, I don't know if you'll work on it. I'm sure you won't. But as always, you'll have extra time after spring break to get it done, but don't let it get too far away, because any late assignments, folks, the zeros are going to stay if it gets too late. And I think I've put some zeros in already, so please be aware of that. For this assignment or for your next assignment, and it's going to take 2 days because it's quite extensive in terms of content, you're going to create a page kind of like this that has quite a bit of content that uses a list, either an unordered list or ordered list. It uses these links. It uses links to other websites. It uses links to contact somebody. It uses links within, like an anchor. So you're going to have a lot of content. It's going to use quotes and italicized words and bold words. So just to give you a heads up, and I'm going to talk about this tomorrow, but you have this challenge called List Anchor Challenge, and it's going to have very similar feel. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine, but it's going to have a lot of information, and it can be about, what did I say, film, sport, or other hobby of your choosing. Now, I have given you my sample. However, you cannot use my work. So you can't go ahead and be like, well, I'm going to do it on film festivals and just change a few things. Nope, that's called cheating, and it's not going to be acceptable. So please be aware.
Making sure you're paying attention.
Yeah. And guys, let me be really clear about my cheating policy in this class, because it's really easy to like copy and paste or use other people's work. As far as content, I'm not a huge person on copying and pasting large amounts of content, but I realize sometimes you need quite a bit, like especially if it's on some obscure animal, that sort of thing. So I get that. However, if you're like copying somebody else's website or copying, pasting my website and just making a few changes, I'm going to consider that cheating, and you're going to get a 0, and you're not going to be able to make it up. So please be aware that I'd rather have you be creative and maybe not have the full extent of all the words, but at least make an effort, than doing a ton of copying, pasting of other people's work. So, I mean, because you can find websites everywhere, but I'll know. I can look at your work and know. It's just like when you write something, I can tell if it's your writing in terms of your voice and your style. So please be aware that I have a pretty strict policy about cheating and using other people's work. So tomorrow I will talk to you guys about this challenge, but I thought I'd give you a heads up. And then you will have today or tomorrow and Thursday to work on it. So any late assignments, I strongly encourage you guys to look at PowerSchool and get those in, please. Because past assignments are going to be turning to zeros pretty quick and staying that way. Okay? That's my dog. I know. Somebody's at my door, so she's not happy either about cheating and getting work in. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow. So just if you're somebody that likes to work with headphones, tomorrow's going to be pretty much a work day. I'm just going to kind of run through just a few things in case you need it, but tomorrow and Thursday would be work days. So if you need headphones, I would take some tomorrow.